Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Saylor Academy's ESL 001. This is going to be our review of our second part of this review for this unit, practicing new words. And thank you for joining us. Be sure to check out the discourse discussion forums and leave any questions you might have in the chat, and we'll get to what we can. But while I fix the back end stuff, I'll just hand it over to Chris to get this started.
Good day, everyone. Welcome. So today we're going to talk about practice using new words. So we're building upon what we've done in the past, and we're going to take it a step further on how we can integrate or use new words in writing and speaking, so that we don't forget them, so that we are using them and adding them to our vocabulary. So we'll look at different strategies that we can use to learn and practice new vocabulary. One of the questions I want to start out with asking you is, what strategies do you already know for finding and learning new words? If you can, share your ideas in the chat. We're going to just let you do that for just a moment or two, and then we're going to kind of discuss that and move forward with some of the things that we have for you to add to those skills you already have.
All right. Well, looks like we got some answers coming here in the chat. Someone says that they like learn new words through movies. Someone says they like to check their dictionary. They write to someone wants to. They say they like to write down notes. They like to take a note every time they like learn a new word to help them remember it.
Very good. These are all terrific strategies. And if you're watching TV or you're watching movies, you can always put the subtitles in English, so you'll see the words at the bottom. I found that really helpful when I was trying to learn French. So it might be something that you could think of doing in addition to trying to, just watch the movie without that. And then to keep a notebook is wonderful, and also to use a dictionary, of course, is great. As long as you kind of keep up with all the new words that you're using or reading about or coming across, then that's very helpful. So as you learn new words, it may be helpful to think about how they relate to words you already know. A strategy that you can use to connect new concepts to what you already know is putting words into groups. You can group words by theme, part of speech, etc. So here you'll see on the screen that we have, of course, right here on the right-hand side, the word library. So once you kind of become familiar with that word, you figure out the definition, then you can start to group other words around that. So the way that that would work, of course, is we know that we do research in the library. And as you start to group the words, then it starts to make sense because you're seeing a bigger picture. It's like you've suddenly started to put the pieces together and now can imagine, a better image of what it is that you're learning. So we have books, we have librarian, we have database. So if you're putting all them together, then you know that they're linked, and now you have a working knowledge of how not only they relate together, but how what their meaning is, and then you can start to use those words, in your everyday speech. Then you'll have, of course, over here words like bird, fish, which are all part of animal, right? So you can start to put together that, a bird has feathers, it has wings, it can fly. And then you start to break it down into different types of birds, like the canary.
All right. Hey, everyone. Yeah, we were looking for some questions. There was supposed to be music playing underneath, but we're not gone. We were just waiting to see if you guys had some groupings for these words and themes. All right, we got some answers rolling in here. Uh, uh, for for some answers coming in, we have for biology. We have organisms and ecosystem. Sorry, ecosystems. Uh, we have a thesis as part of people with the answer thesis for writing. Um,
Great job.
a lot
Good
of
job.
organisms. A lot of people with the answer organism for biology and ecosystem. Um, uh, Someone says for writing bibliography.
Good job so far. That's fantastic. Let's take a look. So which words did you connect? And these would be some sample answers. So we have with biology, you'll see that word in the middle, which we were talking about earlier, where we kind of group and put that word in the middle that we're trying to build on. So we have biology, we have organism, we have ecosystem, and then for writing, we have the thesis and we have the bibliography. So if you guys added those into the chat, great work, because it sounds like we have a lot of students who are really knowledgeable and are putting forth, the right answer. So good job there. We're going to take a look at perhaps adding to this. Okay, so we talked just about thesis and bibliography for writing. And now I'm just going to challenge you. Can you think of two more words for these two groups? So what else would go with writing? What else would go with biology? What can you think of that would be a word that would fall under the group of biology? And how can we think of, what words can we add to, of course, the theme group of writing? So take a moment. We're going to take a look at what you come up with.
All right, we got some great answers coming in here. In the chat, we have for biology, plants and animals, um, dissection for biology. For
Good work.
writing, it is good. I thought so. For writing, we have some suggests articles, literature and novels, poems and compositions, and also for writing, we have like research and editing.
Beautiful work, guys. They all fit in the categories that we have up here. And as you start to think about it, now the word writing has a lot of different meanings associated with it. So we're defining it. We're also helping to define the words in the group. So good job with that. Right. And we can see here that there's some of the sample answers. We have animals and plants. We have sentences and paragraphs. I like some of the words you came up with as well. Dissection, literature, poems, all wonderful words. So good job. Do you remember the parts of speech from Unit 1? Can you identify the different nouns, adjectives, verbs, and adverbs in the sentences below? So what we're trying to do is to group words by parts of speech. So this is just kind of a connection with what we've already learned to what we're learning today. So it's just a quick exercise to have you think about, do you remember what nouns are? Do you remember what adjectives are, and verbs and adverbs? So take a moment. Well, maybe we should just touch on it. Remember, a noun is a person, place, or thing. An adjective describes a noun for the most part. Verbs are the actual words or the action in the sentence. And adverbs, of course, complement the verbs. So knowing that, see if you can try to pick them out. Try to do this grouping exercise by thinking about what we've already learned and how we can apply that to today's assignment.
All right, great job again. We got some answers down here in the chat. We have for sentence one, we have someone who answered the boy is the noun, short is an adjective, runs is a verb.
Good work.
Um, Someone else calls them, says that the people are putting a lot of answers in there. They're moving pretty fast for me. Someone has a list of the verbs here. They say sings, wags, runs, and comes. Someone points out that that in the second sentence, the noun is the girl and sings is the verb. Just a lot of good answers in here. I think everyone knows.
Good
knows what's going on.
job. No, that sounds really right on target and what we're seeing in the actual sentences. So let's take a look. So we have the adjectives in green, which is short here. We have the nouns, of course, in blue. Now, what people don't normally think is that there can be more than just one noun in a sentence. And so if we're grouping them together, we can see that, you know, making that list, that there can be certainly more than one in each sentence. So we have, in the first sentence, we have 2 nouns, we have 2 in the second, and we have 4 in the third one. So if you missed it, just know that once you find the nouns in the beginning of the sentence, continue to look, continue to group them, because you may find more. The verbs are this pinkish color, so runs, sings, wags, and comes. So we already have a student who put that in there, so awesome. And then the adverb, loudly, so very good in kind of putting together where these should be grouped and how they should be grouped, which helps us define, of course, these parts of speech in better detail. So it's just a fun activity to bring what we've already learned into what we are learning now. Okay. Remember, when we group words, for example, by their part of speech, we can better determine a new word's meaning. For example, the word wags is a verb, so it describes an action that is taking place. This helps us determine the word's meaning, since we know the word is not a noun, adjective, or anything else. Using our knowledge of dogs, we can better infer the meaning of wags in the example, the dog wags his tail when his owner comes home. So that can kind of give you just a little more clarity and understanding of how this works. What do all the words in bold have in common? So remember, we're working on developing, grouping, and defining words. So you're going to be asked to take a look at the words that are, of course, bold or darker than others, and to determine what group do they belong to. All right, so try to really challenge yourself to group up these words, group these words into different categories, and then to put them in the right one. In other words, decide which groups and then put them in the right group. So this is just a quick exercise to give you, and I think of it as a fun exercise because it really just gives you an additional chance to kind of help define the words by putting them in that same group. So give it a try. We're going to go over it. We're going to talk about it and see how all this relates to what we're discussing here today.
All right, so we got some answers coming in here, and so we want to keep everything moving along here. But we did certainly had some people point out that uh, these were all kitchen activities or things that have to do with food, and I think they might be right on.
Yes, absolutely. We're talking about, of course, words like debone, which is an activity of working with the fish, right, to get it prepared for cooking. Dice, which of course means to cut the tomatoes really small. And discard, which, put the knife down or put it away. And then we have drain, where we, of course, the bottom of the kitchen sink. Fillet, so where you're also, using a tool to be able to prepare the fish. And flour, which is, of course, something that we cook with. Folded, but putting the towel, together. And freeze, put it in very cold air so that it lasts longer. And then fry it, which is a type of cooking, and garnish. So let's see. Yes, you guys were right on. So it is cooking. We have dice, we have debone, discard, and garnish, which of course is working with the different tools that you cook with, and to create that, to create the fish in a way that we want to. The drain, the fry, the folded, and the flour. So now when you hear words like debone or garnish or fillet, you'll start to think about, yeah, it's related to cooking, it's related to fish, and then you can start to really understand the context too of the words and how they're being used. So this is a strategy to help you basically master some of those new words and keep using them by putting them into a group and understanding their role within the group and also their meaning from that. And so as we're kind of coming to the end of these great exercises this week, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to post them in the chat. But I'm so excited to see all the great work that you've done this week and how well you did. So thank you to everyone who's been participating and really adding, their ideas to the chat. That's what makes this fun and interesting. And we're so happy that you are joining us every week. Um, the final exercise answers you can see here. I discussed a little bit of them earlier, but dice, of course, is to cut into cubes. Discard is to throw away or get rid of something. Drain, a pipe through which liquid is carried away. And fillet, a special way of cutting, cut into fillet. So debone, of course, is to remove the bones from something as well. So we have all these different ways of kind of looking at the words and putting them together based upon the group that we assign them to. Then we have flour, a white powdery substance, often used to make bread. Fold, to bend or lay something so that one part covers the other. Freeze, to cause to become very cold and make liquid solid. Fry, to cook on a hot surface using fat. And garnish, to decorate food. And with that, again, thank you for all your contributions this week and how much you added into the chat, because that really made it more fun, of course, much more of a learning experience.
Yeah, of course. Thank you everyone for joining us. We do have, I guess, one bit of confusion down in the chat, though. I think we might have got it corrected in the chat, but they had a question about flower being a noun or a verb, and I think in that sentence we looked at, it was a noun.
Yes, yes, and that's the other thing with English. We can use certain words as both. Like the word Google. We now use, we'll go Google it. We make that into a verb as well. So you are correct in questioning whether or not it is a noun or a verb. From my
All right. Well, again, thank you everyone for joining us. We'll be back here same time next week. Again, if you haven't taken the course yet, go check out our English as a Second Language course over at Saylor.org from the Saylor Academy. Make sure if you have any other questions, you can continue them in the discourse discussion forums that will be linked below. And also, leave a comment in the chat. Maybe if you're here later, and we'll maybe try and answer it next week. Thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you as always, Krista, for teaching, and we will see you guys next week.
Thanks, guys.